This is NFA Talk, the show that talks about guns and gun rights, keeping you up to date with what's currently going on, from the newest guns, promotions, and events, plus how we're lobbying for your rights.
All right, it's time for another episode of NFA Talk, and tonight we're going to talk about our Top Gun range day that we had last Saturday. Myself, I'm Jordan Vandenhoff. Joining me tonight, we have Rick Iggersage, and from Alberta, we have Dwayne Gorniak. Hi guys, how you doing? Dwayne, you're still muted.
Hey Jordan, I'm doing great. How are you doing? A little tired after the weekend, but I'm feeling pretty good.
Are you still cleaning your guns?
You know what? I just basically took them and hosed them all down with G96, and I actually cleaned one today. I like to thoroughly clean them because we sent several thousand rounds down the range, so definitely need a good cleaning.
Absolutely. It was, I got to say, it was an amazing turnout. It was a great day, sunny all day. We couldn't ask for a better day. The turnout, we were blown away by the lineups that we had. It was a great turnout, and I wrote it down here. The number of non-licensed firearms owners that showed up were 430 people. And we also had 20 spectators that just wanted to come check it out, see what it was all about, but they didn't want to pull the trigger. So, I mean, that's amazing. We got to talk to a lot of them. We got to explain our sport to them. I couldn't be any happier with that, right?
And don't forget, there's several hundreds of licensed gun owners that also showed up. So it was a pretty good event. I'm ecstatic about the way it went down. It was way beyond our expectations, and the Joan from Silverdale and Sarah from Lance Shooting Supplies, they did a great job. Our people were down there from the NFA. Dwayne was down there, and we had our field officers, Kyle and Julian, there. Our regional coordinator Tom was there, running our sales booth. It was great. It was a busy day when none of us had any time to sit down or take a break. I was basically talking to people while I was eating French fries. So that tells you what kind of day we had.
We had our general manager, Ginger, there as well.
Oh, yeah. Last but not least, Ginger. Ginger was also there, and Ginger did a great job. Ginger spent most of the day loading mags for us, and I still don't know how she did it with those big, long fingernails, but she managed to load mags and keep ahead of everybody. Like I say, Dwayne and I and Jordan were on the line, and it was great. People were everybody left with a smile on their face. At any one time, I turn around and the lineup to our gun booth was 100 to 150 feet long. They were backed up. They were backed up into the weeds. It was amazing.
Yeah, KP762 says I slept for 21 hours after the event.
Yeah. KP762 is one of our field officers. He drove all the way from Belleville to come and help us out, and it was a great day. It was a great day all around. What do you think, Dwayne?
It was amazing, and KP, that would be Kyle then, right?
That's right. Yep.
No, it was an awesome day. Like you said, the lineup of the people coming in, and it was nonstop. Neither one of us really got a break. It was just every time you looked up, there was just a barrage of people, and I'm sure we'll see some of those pictures here eventually of the lineup going down the road and stuff like that. Yeah,
we have some video in production right now. We have thousands of pictures that we're kind of going through and sorting out. I mean, it's great. We do really have to thank the staff at Silverdale. They all donated their time to come out and help with the event, to make it run smoothly. We should thank Tandem Arms. We should thank Glock for coming out. We couldn't have done the event without them. The Canadian Gun Vault, they were out there shooting. It was really busy over on their side of the range there. I kind of popped my head around the corner, and they had a lineup out to the driveway there. It's great to see the turnout. I was talking with people. I was on the line shooting, and I'll tell you this: we had younger kids out there, and they were just happy as could be, smiles on their face, wanting to shoot a gun, wanting to try it out, and you'd talk to them and you'd say, hey, if this next bill goes through, you probably won't be able to own this. And the look of disappointment, right? And that really makes me feel bad, because the next generation is not going to enjoy the sport like we're enjoying it now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jordan. I
It
know
was-
I had some young people on the range, and we went through all the safety procedures, and we did everything in a super safe manner. A lot of people never held a gun before in their lives, and like I say, they left a smile on their face. But even with the young shooters, when we were talking to their parents they couldn't believe how much fun they were having, and the parents ended up trying some firearms also. And then we explained to them, why the reason we're here is because the Liberal government is going to try to stop all this stuff. And they didn't understand, and I think that's a part of the problem. There's a lot of people out there that aren't firearms people that just don't know what's going on. What do you think, Dwayne?
Well, that's exactly it, right? Because the message that the government portrays, with Trudeau and Mendocino there, they portray that taking the guns from all of us who were at that gun range that day is actually going to do something about gang-related violence and crime, and it's really just smoke and mirrors. They're actually not doing anything at all. I've said it over and over, like, I don't know, thousands and thousands of times. I say it all the time. You don't meet gangbangers at Cabela's and Canadian Tire with their hats on sideways and their pants around their knees, right? They don't stop in there with their license to purchase ammunition or firearms. And after all this is said and done, if Trudeau is successful and he does stop us from purchasing future handguns, firearms, criminals are still going to get them out of the trunks of cars, dark back alleys anyway.
Absolutely.
As far as we know, and we're going to just touch a little bit on the handgun, the stoppage of movement of handguns. As far as we know today, we're still good. There was some talk that something was going to happen today. Nothing happened. There was some talk last Thursday. I think it wasn't it Thursday, Jordan, where they said they might put an OIC in place to stop all movement of hand.
It was Friday. They filibustered.
Oh, Friday,
in the House. Yeah.
Yeah, the Conservatives. Yeah. I'm going to use an American word, but the Conservatives filibustered them, and it didn't happen. So I don't know. The talk was it was going to happen today, but it didn't happen. But I know everybody I've been talking to has been going out and buying handguns. I stopped at a local gun shop today, and they were sold out of handguns. No, you know what? They weren't sold out, but they were over 500 handguns. I can't remember the exact number. They had two left. One was an Ivor Johnson 22, and I don't know what the other one was. Some used firearm, but that's just one gun shop. Imagine. And we push this out on social media too, is Justin Trudeau and Marco Masidio are the two of the best gun salesmen there is in Canada right now. Jordan?
Handgun salesman of the year, right?
Yeah.
Before I left to come out to Hamilton, I'd phoned Cabela's myself because I was looking for another Ruger Wrangler, just a little 22 revolver, for cowboy action shooting. I already have one, but I thought, another one before this is all said and done, because we do cowboy action at our gun range. And the lady at Cabela's told me every store right across the country was sold right out of handguns, and that Trudeau did wonders for them, selling them out. And, as bad as it is not being able to have handguns anymore, at least those people weren't stuck with thousands of dollars of inventory, right?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, like, that's great that the firearms community stepped up and didn't leave the stores with unsellable product. Like, to show the support to the stores that have been providing us with the firearms, it's great. We as firearms owners, we have to pat ourselves on the back over this. We help the stores out.
Yeah, I think hindsight's 20/20, but I think the Liberals are looking at it now and going, "Wow, we should have really put this into place." Where at the time we could have put this in place because, like Jordan says, the gun shops are sold out of everything, and I don't know if it was a tactical error on their part or if it was planned. We don't know. We probably never will know. But as soon as they brought that all movement of handguns bill up, the stores went berserk. People were lined up outside. So, you know what? I don't know if it was a mistake or it was in the plan. I don't know, but it worked out. It worked out good for the handguns that were in Canada at the present time. Anyway.
Yeah, and there still might be time, like Rick, like you said, they were gonna, there was rumor out there that they were gonna pull a freeze today and they were gonna pull the trigger on that one, and it never happened. It doesn't look like it's gonna happen this week at all. We're only in the Parliament's only sitting until the 23rd, so we're getting fairly close to, there's a good chance this is gonna go over the summer break, come back in September. Maybe they are gonna do things right where they're gonna hold off on trying to ram through second reading of C21, and they're going to do the due process. Give some time for the MPs to go back and talk with their constituents and see where they're actually at with this. Right now, like you see across the news, every media outlet, there's a lot of critics out there that are saying the Liberals are missing the target on this one. They're not targeting the criminals, or very lightly anyways, and they're really, this bill goes directly after law-abiding licensed firearms owners.
Actually, just like myself today, I called Blair, our vice president. I called him at Lever Arms today, and I bought a bunch of prohibs off him. I said, Blair, what do you got? He told me what I had. I said, I'll take them all. It just I'm hoping it doesn't come. I hope it doesn't come down to the complete stoppage of the stopping of movement of handguns across Canada. But it's your chance, and it makes you think. Even us in our position, and we're fighting this tooth and nail. It makes you think, boy, there's some handguns I wanted. Maybe I better go out there and get them. I think you're trying to do the same, aren't you, Dwayne?
Well, I was, and like I said, it wasn't so much that I guess it was that last little irk, with Trudeau pulling it, and that's kind of what brought that sparkle in my eye and thinking, another one, right? Yeah. So yeah, and I walked into my local gun stores, Prophet River and Lloydminster, and it was eerie. It was weird walking in there and seeing the displays just completely empty.
Jeff Marino's got a comment. They're trying to get a transfer, can't get through, not answering your phones. You know what? I'm in the same boat with my with the prohibs I bought, because of course prohibs are at a gun shop on consignment. They're not owned by the gun shop, so it has to go through the person to person transfer. And I'm in the same boat, trying to get a hold of the CFO to initiate these transfers, but it's almost impossible. And it seems like I don't know what they have for staff in Miramichi, but you shouldn't have to wait 8 or 9 hours to do this transfer. You think with this backlog, you think they get some more staff on, but I think that's part of the ploy too. I could be wrong, but by not putting putting staff on there, it's slowing things down. It's all. Who knows, right?
It could be a little bit of that. Could be a little bit of that, but you got to remember too. I don't think they even knew this was coming down the pipeline. So now you have a system that's completely overloaded. Their web servers are completely overloaded. I tried to transfer a non-restricted firearm to the winner of our shotgun at the Top Gun event, and the server kept crashing on me. I had to back out, wait a few minutes, try again. They didn't plan this. They rushed it, and you can see even in the bill they rushed it because there's a lot of stuff in there that needs clarification. So it goes to show that this government, they're just trying to ram it through. They're trying to make the antis happy on this one, and they really have no thought. Do you guys think that they're really going to pull through with this, or is this a whole bunch of let's get everybody on our side, load them up, and then call the next election, right?
Yeah. So I don't think it's smoke and mirrors like the Liberals have been known to do. I don't think it's that, but I think they're going to go. I personally think they're going to go through with it, and it's going to be hard to get something back once you lost it. Jordan and I were talking about this today, Dwayne. That once they take something away from you, it's harder to get it back. Exactly. So our fight has to be at the ground floor with this, because Jordan made the comment today. Once it's gone, it's gone. And good luck getting it back.
But just to clarify what you said there, Rick, about smoke and mirrors, it is smoke and mirrors on the fact that they're trying to appear to do something about guns, in the hands of criminals and gangs, right? That's where it's smoke and mirrors, because they're actually not doing anything about it. Those guys, they've stated many times that over 85% of the firearms used in gang-related violence, is smuggled in from usually the US or other countries, and the other 15% other countries and stolen, right? But a very small number, which is locally stolen, 85% elsewhere. Anyway, smoke and mirrors on actually trying to appeal to people who don't own guns, don't know anything about guns, and make it look like they're going to do something about the guns that are doing the drive-by shootings. And
yeah, I'm just looking at one of our listeners. I'm sorry if I probably pronounced your name wrong, but it's Samaj. He says, I've never gotten into guns. I'm wondering if, oh, here we go. I've never gotten into guns, and now I'm wondering if I should even bother with everything going on. What do you guys think? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I know of all the non-gun people that never fired a gun before in their lives and came out to our range day at Silverdale, a percentage of them were asking me where they could take a course and where they could buy some guns. Even with this looming handgun ban, they were still thinking, you know what? We shot some long guns here. Like, I had an SKS there. I couldn't believe the rounds that went down range with an SKS, you know, and they're one of the most economical guns to buy right now. You know, and like I say, what I can tell you is that get out there, get your pal, go out there, and hopefully things don't come to an end before you can buy some firearms. Because I know one thing for sure: if you get some firearms, you're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to have a smile on your face. Because I don't think anybody left that range day. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't see anybody leave there that wasn't smiling.
Right.
No. And I would encourage that commenter to go get your firearms license as well. You know, join us, help strengthen our voice. You know, there's different types of things you can do out shooting with reactive targets. Like one of the things my son and I love to do is with reactive target trees, you know, flipping the branches back and forth and stuff like that. You know, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool things. And then over the weekend when we were at Mike's Steakhouse, we got thinking about maybe doing a Jenga rotisserie for guns, right? So.
There you go.
So no, but really though, like if people stop getting their firearms license, what kind of message does that send the government? And what does that tell them? They say, hey, they're it's working. No. We still need, everybody should still go through their non-restricted, restricted classes. Show this government that there is a demand for it, and we're basically not going to take it. We're fighting back by getting our license, by organizing, and you got to still continue writing to your MPs. Let them know how unsatisfied you are with this. You know, you might think, hey, just, you know, writing a small little letter, some backbencher is going to read it. No, when they see the volume of mail coming in, they pay attention to that. They really do. The other thing is there's a whole bunch of petitions out there. You might not think that it does anything. It does. When we go to court with this OIC, we're going to show them, you know, look at the petition numbers. This does have value to it. So, please, you know, you see the petitions, sign them, write to your MPs. We still have to continuously doing it. Even if you think it's a waste of time, it really isn't.
Yeah. You know, Gary Gill made the comment, will Canadians, whoops, I lost it there. Will Canadians lose all their gun rights? Well, you know what? Canadians have been losing their gun rights since basically 1967, actually in the 30s before that, when handgun registration started. That is definitely their agenda, the liberal agenda for sure, to get rid of all gun rights and guns. But you know what? We at the NFA are here to prevent that, and that's what we do. We're fighting for your gun rights every day. You know, even like Jordan said, educating, writing letters to your MPs. We're lobbying MPs. We're writing letters all the time. And we're getting out, and our big thing right now is educating non-firearms people, like we did at Silverdale this past weekend. That goes a long way. Believe it or not, if you're a gun person, you want to get out there, get some people that, you know, are kind of iffy about guns, take them to the range, shoot some guns. I've said this in the past. We've said this in the past. You know, Jordan does it all the time, takes non-firearms people to the range, and you know what? Next thing you know, where can I sign up for a PAL course?
Funny you say that. I was just at the range last night with a couple, and I was with my buddy and his lady friend, and she wanted to get it off her bucket list. She wanted to shoot a pistol for the first time, so we went down. We shot a couple hundred rounds, some 22 9mm, and then, you know, I brought out the big 454 Casal as well to shoot. And I'll tell you, like we sat down afterwards and finished off our coffees there, and you know, big smile from ear to ear. You know, how do I go about doing this? And I said, you know, listen, you might not have time. You have to go through the course. You have to go through the background check. They are doing the freeze, but I said, hey, listen, you know what? Do it anyways so you're ready, because this government's not going to be around forever. We are going to have an opportunity to get some of these repealed when we get Trudeau out of office. Yeah. So, and in the meantime, you can still shoot other firearms, non-restricteds, and I'm always inviting people to come up to the range with me and shoot. So my guns are always available to shoot.
And
so
to all those parents out there who brought their children, we say thank you for that, because they are the next generation of sport, right? In this culture, right?
It puts a smile on my face when I can teach a young person how to shoot safely and look at the twinkle in his eyes, and his eyes light up when he sends his first round downrange. It's satisfying to me to watch that. And then, what, when they're happy, their parents are happy, and everybody's happy. Lauren Call has a question. Lots of trappers up my way. We have handguns for protection. What will happen to them or a pilot? What will happen with them or a pilot for survival gear? Well, I'm assuming you're not from Ontario, because there is no wilderness carry in Ontario. And as far as I know, I'm from Southern Ontario, and I know a few trappers down here, and they pulled their their carry permits out from the trappers. I don't know what's going on in the north. I don't know if they're still allowing them for sure. But that's another point of this bill C-21. Where does it put you guys? I know in northern BC, there's quite a few wilderness permits for for gold mining, etc., trapping. I don't know where it's going to put all these permits. Do you guys have any idea where this stuff's going to go on that part of it?
Well, that's up to the individual CFOs of each province, right?
Yeah.
So depending on what your CFO is like you said, Rick, in Ontario, if you've got an anti-gun CFO, it's not going to go well, right? But
actually, can I jump in here? So they're actually taking that away from the CFOs.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, they're taking in this bill. That's going to take it away, and there's going to be one person. So they're going to actually take full control of this. So I'm only taking a guess, but I have a feeling that nobody's going to have a authorization to carry.
Yeah, and that's the way I read it too. But I think Terry Bryant from Alberta, your province, is fighting against that. She wants a little more control for the CFOs, which it rightly should be. Each provincial CFO should be able to make decisions. But it's all in the grand scheme of things to get rid of handguns. A segment at a time. First, they take us law-abiding gun owners and take our firearms away. Then they go to the trappers, the gold miners. The only people I can see that aren't going to lose their guns is Justin Trudeau's security people. That's the only people I can see.
Yeah, and that what I was saying is how it is right now. Right, but yeah, you're right, Jordan. Like, it's what they do in that bill. It's not going to get.
Yeah, I mean, like Dwayne, your CFO has been very vocal about willing to do this sort of thing. So I think this is a direct knock towards her, and that's why they put this in the bill. They want the total control. They knew that Alberta was going to go a different direction, especially since Alberta now does their self-appointed CFO. So they put that in the bill for a reason. Right. Yeah, everything in this bill is totally calculated for total control, and eventually they want to remove firearms from Canada.
Exactly, because for once we got a CFO that actually represents Albertans in a true fashion, and we're getting the good old Trudeau finger again, right? So.
Oh yeah, that happens to you guys out there on a daily basis almost. It just seems Alberta's the friggin' punching bag for the rest of the country, and I understand. Yeah. But Terry, like I say, I know Terry personally, and she's a great gal when it comes to this stuff, and she's pro-gun. She has probably one of the biggest Japanese firearms collections in Canada, if not North America. She's a real pro firearms person. Actually, I think we actually mentioned to her to get her on NFA Talk. I'm really looking forward to having her on here to express her views on some of this stuff. It'll make for an interesting night because. She's going against the grain, and that's what we need in the rest of the province. I know Ontario CFO definitely doesn't go against the grain.
Well, and she's so active in it, like you said, Rick. And I've got to thank her again. I'll thank her here live right now for actually being at my gun range this weekend while I was gone to Hamilton, she took part in our cowboy action shoot all day Saturday. And then on Sunday, she went to Castor, Alberta, and took part at their gun range with them as well. And that's how active she is, and what she's trying to do in our communities for us, right?
I don't know about the gun clubs you attend in Ontario, but I know the ones I attend, the only time you ever see a CFO at a gun range, Jordan, is when they come to inspect it. I've never actually seen one come out just to talk and meet with firearms owners, discuss issues. Never ever see them there. No, and it's it's almost impossible to get a phone call in there. Even before this stuff started, it was almost impossible to get a phone call into the CFO. Even with, we had some direct numbers and stuff, but it was almost impossible to get in there. It's almost like, you know what, you guys don't exist and we really don't care. This is just a bunch of paper for us. It's a job, and get on with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's I don't know what to say. Like they're not there to help us. That's for sure.
Oh,
like, this is not about service, right? Like, Ontario. Before all this happened, we were looking at like 6 to 8 weeks on a transfer. I'll tell you what. Like, I bought a protest pistol when they talked about the freeze. I'll let everybody know here when it actually comes in. Right. Yeah. So, and I bought it a couple days ago. So let's see how long it takes. The clock's ticking here, Ontario. Let's see what you can do. Right. Dwayne, what's the transfer rates like out your way?
I'm not hearing too much about it yet. Alberta, we've actually had it pretty lucky. Like everybody out here seems to be doing okay with it. All the more complaints I always hear from the east, from, like you said, from Ontario and the Maritimes.
Yeah. I see Angela Carla made a comment. Great event. I remember I had a chance to talk to Angela at Silverdale, and bringing up our numbers. Yeah, I appreciate Angela. Angela's another person that came out all the way down Belleville, Ottawa way. I'm not exactly sure, but it's somewhere down there, and it was great to see people. We had people coming in for driving hours and hours and hours to come to this event. It was just. It was just a pleasure to see. I was a happy guy at the end of the day.
Yeah. I was happy too, but when I got the firearms home, like it's just
wow. You know what,
gunked up. I got a couple weeks worth of cleaning to do, right? But it's worth it.
You and I have done 2 or 3 of these events before, and it turns out we end up bringing our guns because I've got a bunch of prohibs I brought, and Jordan's got a bunch of the modern space age stuff that he brought, and it's stuff that it's stuff that people don't see on the range every day.
So what do you think? We probably had at least 40 firearms on our range, and we also had some firearms that Tactical Imports loaned us to shoot as well.
Yeah.
So we had probably about 45 guns just on our range alone, and we still had I've seen the pictures over from the Canadian Gun Vault on their side. They had probably 40-50 guns over there too. Glock had their full lineup. So, the Silverdale people had at their setup in their range the same thing. They had a whole whack of firearms. So I mean, in total, we probably had well over 200 firearms on the lines.
I would think so. Yeah. I would think so. You know what? I was so busy I never really got a chance to walk to the rest of the ranges at Silverdale, but there sure was a lot of banging going on. And I don't know how many rounds were sent down range, but I know myself, we picked up the brass because we were kind of partway down the range. We didn't want to leave any brass or garbage behind. I ended up with a 5-gallon pail and a half full of brass. So that's a lot of rounds to be shooting in a few hours in one day. Like I say, we didn't stop. The only time we took a 3-minute break was to change targets. Other than that, it was go, keep moving forward all day long. It was great. It was really a really good day.
Yeah, no, and absolutely. What do you think? What was the youngest age we had there? I had a little boy up on the line that wanted to shoot the Glock 48. I'd say he was about 10, 11 years old.
Yeah, I had a young fella too, and it was probably around 7 or 8 years old. I spent with the kids, I spent a little more time there too, and just I make them hold the gun, I make them dry fire it a few times. I just want to make sure where their muzzle's at, and I want to keep my hands close so that things don't go awry and the gun doesn't start swinging and stuff. And I want to make sure they can dry fire it first. And like I said, I had a 6 or 7 year old there, and maybe 8, somewhere in that. I don't know, but Dad was there too, and Dad's dad was a gunny. He wasn't, so he wanted his young fellow to experience it, and we went through it, and he ended up he cranked off 10 rounds out of a 22 semi-automatic pistol that we had there. And the kid was is smiling. He left away smiling. He said, Dad, he was saying, Dad, we got to come back and shoot some more. So I think I don't know, I didn't have him the second time. Maybe Dwayne or one of you guys had him the second time, but they went to buy some more tickets. Yeah.
There was a 9-year-old there and an 8-year-old, and and just took him under control. Like it reminded me of when my son was that age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool
we had several hundred, if not 1,000, over 1,000 shooters or whatever the numbers were. But you know what? We never had one accidental discharge. We never had one accident. And like Jordan said, we had 430 unlicensed new shooters. I'm sure some of them held a gun before, but I think the vast majority had never even held a gun. We never had one accident, not one erroneous discharge. We never had anything. So that says a lot too, because it was one-on-one, and our people made sure it was safe. So it just I think I'm hoping this becomes an annual thing, and I'm hoping the next one's going to be bigger and better.
You know what else I noticed too? There was a lot more females there at this event than there have been in the past events.
Yeah.
It's really catching on.
There was a couple guys there that actually brought their landlady there with them, and the first time she was shooting, and she actually really enjoyed it. So
one thing I didn't see on the range this time, and I don't know if they were there or not, was the police. The police usually show up and they come to our booth, and we give them some different kinds of firearms to shoot, and then the police even leave with smiles on their face. But I didn't see them this year. They might have been on there, but they weren't on our range.
They were at the end of the road directing traffic because it was a mess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, a big shout out to Joan and Sarah again. We had a shuttle service set up with golf carts and stuff. It was a crazy day for people, and people didn't. They stopped selling ammo at 4, and they shut down at 4:30 or 5.
Oh, and we didn't get out of there till
I know it was
close to 6.
Yeah,
I think it was at the point where we were telling people like you might have to head over to the other range because we're just out of ammo at this point.
Yeah. I know. We ran out of 7.62 39. We ran out of 12 gauge. We shot a lot of rounds through the prohibs. That was another thing too. And when people show up and you hand them a 2-inch barrel revolver, and they go, "Boy, do I ever want one of these!" And and so that's what we're working towards, so you can have one. But right now you can't own one. And they say to me, "Well, why do you have one?" I said, "Well, because I got grandfathered. Luckily, I got grandfathered in. I'm old enough. I'm an old guy to get in on the grandfathering thing." And that just people that don't know firearms are astounded how severe the rules are. And I talked to a lot of people. I would have liked to talk to a lot more, but like I say, I was busy on the range. But I did talk to a lot of people, and people are just absolutely astounded how hard it is to get a handgun, what you have to go through, the daily vetting process. The list is endless. But then again, like I say, it's all about information, and people just don't know.
Well, they get the wrong. They get the wrong information. They're getting it from U.S. media, where they can walk into a store, do a 5-minute background check, get a pass, and they take the firearm home with them that very moment.
But they're also getting it right from our own government like that. Don't forget that when Trudeau first came into power, and he told everyone that we could go to curling rinks and hockey rinks with handguns in our glove boxes, and that never ever was the case. So that misinformation right from Trudeau's mouth, right?
Yes.
I remember on Twitter too. He made, and I'm gonna have to go back and look at it because I'm probably gonna goof this up. But he made it seem like we didn't have to check for a license to sell a long gun. I don't know if you guys remember that tweet that came out there, and everyone was like, "What are you talking about?" Yes, we do. We look at the license all the time, right? So,
but then again, he said you can blow a deer in half with a 223. So, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and we all know that. And I think he just starts spouting off with things that he thinks are right off the top of his head, and most of it's wrong, and we all know that. But that's ammunition for down the road to when some of this stuff is challenged, because my opinion is, I think a lot of Liberal members and some Conservatives too just don't want to know about this stuff. They just don't want to know what it's really about, how hard it is, and how the vetting process works, and how hard it is to actually, and how expensive, and how much money goes back into the economy, how much money goes back into taxes. They never talk about that. Shooting ranges, ammunition sales, accessory sales, target sales. It's it's mind-boggling.
Right. You know what? KP is right there. I don't think Trudeau thinks at all. And he really doesn't. So he's just getting briefings from a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch. He chooses to ignore the professionals in the firearms industry. And he takes all these points from people that do not like guns and are very uneducated about guns. And they put it all in this package. And then they say, how do we sell this to the public? Let's make it look scary. Let's start pumping out commercials on TV. And, and really sickens me is my tax dollars are paying for them to take my firearms away or to deter the public against the firearms community. A lot of misinformation out there. I mean, they've been pushing that one commercial where it shows, the gangs in the streets in Toronto and all these stats and the wrong information, and it's all domestic sourced handguns when really it's not, right? So
I've made that statement before. The stats they're using are bogus stats. They really are. They're manipulated stats to make them read the way they want to read. We've got actual stats out there with our people, and nobody wants to look at that. Well, they don't want to look at it. Our firearms people look at it, but they don't want to look at it because it would defeat their whole case. Trudeau is told what to say. He's the world's greatest actor. You know what? AC, there's no doubt about that in my mind. One day you're a grade 6 drama teacher. Next,
exactly. Canada hired a drama teacher to run the country.
Yeah. There's a question there I'd like to ask by Albatross by Albatross 999. He writes there: is it true that if Trudeau passes the freeze tomorrow, we lose everything? Not really. The way they're doing that with Bill C-21, I guess, is that we'll be able to keep our handguns till we die, and then they're destroyed, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's the way it is. The way we understand it so far, you know what? It's a fluid situation. Who knows? To this day, and I think our guys will agree here that it basically stops all movement of handguns. So if you're in possession of that, you can keep using it at a gun range. You can take it to a gunsmith, but that gun cannot change ownership. There won't be any new guns bought or sold. There will be no firearms imported into Canada, no one-on-one transfers. That's all done. So basically, it's a complete stop. It's a complete stoppage of movement of all handguns in Canada.
So you want to know how I see this? They're taking our handguns, and they're not going to pay us for it. So I mean, you're going to keep your handguns until you pass on, and then the government gets them without any kind of compensation. So they're not going to pay out your estate. So essentially, they're taking our handguns, and they're not paying for them.
Yeah. Oh, and this brings up the other thing. I know of several people, several dozen people that had 12.7 handguns that were built pre-1947 that they were going to pass on to their heirs. This bill stops that process. All those guns that you went out, you found that were built between before 1947, you paid money for, you paid tax on in some instances. Those firearms now are not going to be able to be transferred because this puts an end to all transfers.
Essentially, if this bill goes through, every handgun you own is worthless.
Yeah.
This takes away families' property, right? Like when I pass away, my handguns won't be able to be passed on down to my son.
I look at it this way, the handguns is just the start of it. Now, I've got my grandfather's old Winchester single shot shotgun that he had probably since the 30s or 40s. It's a family heirloom. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next. Who knows? But the way this is going, when they start banning firearms like that, that's a family heirloom. That's been through 3 generations of my family going on to the 4th, and we're going to lose that. And I'm sure there's people out there with handguns like that. I'm sure Grandpa brought home a liberated Luger from World War I, and and now all of a sudden, it's been a family heirloom, and all of a sudden now that that whoever ended up with it after Grandpa, and now this firearm's going to be out for destruction and a family heirloom. It just nothing short of ridiculous.
Right. But hey, governments do change. They're not going to be in forever.
Exactly.
Right. So, unfortunately, we might, and I put keyword might, be stuck with them until 2025. We're in a minority government right now. They don't last long, and as history has shown, they don't last long. If you watch the politics from day in and day out, things are a little rough. There's a lot of heckling back and forth on all sides of the floor. So there is a chance. Somebody asked earlier, is this bill going to pass? You know what? Right now, the Liberal NDP government does have the majority with the two parties combined. There's a good chance they are going to ram this bill through. But it doesn't mean that we're completely lost. The next government that comes in does have a chance to repeal this and do right by firearms owners, right?
And we're gearing up in different ways if this bill does pass too. I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll see what happens with the bill before we get deeper into it. But
our legal team is looking at every angle.
Yeah. The NFA is looking into this, and we're spending a lot of time looking at this. And right now, we're looking at all the possible angles and the way this whole thing might go down. We're like I say, we're preparing right now to deal with this as soon as we get any kind of stoppage of movement or OIC or anything like that. The NFA is going to move forward on this, and this is everybody out there. That's what we do. We want to nip this in the bud. We want to get in this on the ground floor and prevent this, because I myself and all my colleagues on the NFA, we want to make sure that you keep your handguns and your guns that were listed on the OIC. That is what firearms are our passion, and that's why we do this. We do this as volunteers because that's our passion. We want you to keep your guns. We want the next generations to keep their guns, but we also want to keep our guns too. Dwayne?
Right.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's about property rights, right? We've said that in many other episodes. It's about, liberals have no respect of property, right? So,
yeah, well, that's the thing too. And I explained that to people in the range too. And I was explaining to them, they're taking our more talking towards the OIC right now. They're taking our personal property with no compensation, and they didn't understand that. And so, I'll give an example. I pay $2,500 for an AR-15. And the government's going to give me cents on the dollar. So basically my $2,500 AR-15. And, we've talked about, Jordan and I and everybody on here has talked about this before many times. But, what are we going to get? $100 for AR-15? And it's your tax dollar. Yeah, and they're calling it a buyback. And I've said this dozens of times before. You need to own something in the first place to buy it back. And the fact of the matter is we bought it and we paid the government tax on it. It's not, there's no logic to it. And when you explain it to people, and Jordan's laughing. Jordan and I talk about this, and Dwayne, we talk about this stuff every day amongst ourselves, and some days it's mind-boggling.
Absolutely. Like, we go through all the red hoop, the red tape. We cut through the red tape. We get our license. We go through the background checks. We're law abiding. We're checked every day. We take the safety courses. We sign up for ranges. We take their range safety courses. We have safe storage. We have, transportation laws. We go through everything. Like you can't just dump your gun in the back of the truck and go down to the range. Like, it's a process to go down to the range. It's a process. It's a process to purchase.
That's the next thing too. Get the popcorn out, because I'm thinking central storage is coming down the pipe.
Well, they've toted that one too, but the logistics of all that too. It's like they're gonna start throwing a whole bunch of stuff out there to really, because they have this movement going on, because they're playing on emotion right now with everything that's been going on in a different country, and they're really playing on that. So they're gonna start testing the waters and start throwing it out and seeing how people react.
Yeah.
It's what they do.
Storage. Don't even get me started on that, Rick. That's such bad news, man. That's like a big target on Google Maps for criminals. Look at that. I've got a perfect place.
One of our listeners listening down there, I'm not going to say his name, and he says, "I'm keeping my Beowulf 50." Well, you know what? I've been hearing that from a lot of people, and people are just fed up. So you're not the only one. You know who I'm talking about that made the comment.
And what he's saying there too, that happened in the 90s and 95. If you look back, I'll have to find that article, but a few years back, I wrote a post, an article on our public page about the closet gun owner. And when that big push in the 90s came through, there were a lot of gun owners that just said, I'm done. I'm not compliant. And the guns went in the closet, so to speak, and they just never talked about it again. And how many times did we hear that over the weekend?
Yeah.
There's where we go.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Even with registered handguns, I know this for a fact, and I'm sure people are going to research it and they're not going to find anything on it, but I bought firearms and they called the CFO to register a firearm. And it was there was some mix-up when they went from when 58 came. Was it Bill 50 C58 when the classification started, and they went through a process, and a lot of those registrations were lost. Because this happened to me about 6 or 7 months ago. I bought a Smith & Wesson model 66 and a model 60. So I bought them. It was a private sale, of course, because it was prohib. But I had a local gun shop do the transfer for me. When they called CFO, they had no record of these guns. So basically, what they had to do, we had to measure the barrel, the shot capacity, serial number, markings on the firearm. They basically that firearm probably was registered at one time, but they lost a bunch of that stuff. I'm sure they'll deny it, and I'm sure you guys are going to be out there fact checking this. But that's a fact because I was there, and that happened to me. So basically, those two firearms got registered that day because they had no record of them. So things are not good. Things are not good in as far as the registry stuff. So who knows how many of those firearms are out there yet? And like Dwayne says, the closet long guns that never got registered with the first long gun registry. None of this stuff is well thought out, and none of this stuff prevents crime, and that's the bottom line.
Right. Hey, you know what I got thinking the other day?
What's that?
They just came up with this new system to transfer non-restricted firearms, and you go on the web portal and you log in. We have to call in all the time to transfer for private sales of our restricted firearms, and you know how it is. It sometimes it could take 20 minutes. Sometimes you might not get in that day because they're busy. This whole time, why wouldn't we have a portal to log in and transfer restricted firearms?
That's a good question, Jordan. I don't know. Because they don't want us to.
Right.
Yeah.
See, and they're not about service. This is a total plan to make it. They are trying to make it so the firearms owner says, you know what, this is too much of a hassle. This is too much. I'd rather find a different hobby. It's not about service at all.
Well, and that's the thing, because the gun shops do have the portal for restricted firearms, and they can do it online. But a private sale, you can't. I'm sure it's I'm not a computer guy. Jordan will tell you that because I mess stuff up all the time. But I'm sure with a couple flicks of some switches, they could set the same portal up for private sales, but they just don't want us to do that.
And the other thing too, like transferring non-restricteds, now you have to verify a store.
Yeah,
like that's just with the old way, and I know this because I used to work in a store. Like you could do a transfer between store to store, and it was instant for restricted. But now they're making you verify a store to see if its license is valid. How many transactions a store probably does a day? Like whoever's thinking of this stuff.
Well, and the problem is with that also is when the C21 registration stuff started, or the C71 registration stuff started, there was stores being denied because they were saying their licenses were in order. I was talking to Blair, and he was saying that his store was denied a bunch of transfers from a wholesaler because their paperwork wasn't in order, and their paperwork was 100% in order. And it's simple stuff like email addresses. I've been hearing a lot of that. I've been getting a lot of phone calls on that, where somebody goes to transfer a firearm and everything's good on the portal, and all of a sudden the transfer doesn't go through. They're denied because there's irregularities in their email address. And so then they have to proceed and do the phone call. Of course, you can't get in because there's 5,000 other calls on hold. It's
all of Canada. All of Canada's trying to buy.
System.
All of Canada's trying to buy handgun.
You got yourself a stupid system. Yeah.
They can't get through. All of Canada is trying to buy a handgun right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Made by the Liberals, Rick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. The Liberals and Trudeau, man. I'll tell you, and there's another thing of people not really knowing and not being educated. And I don't know how many people you guys talked about it. At the show, I talked to a bunch of people. Well, I'm going to go out and buy a handgun. I said, well, you can't. What do you mean I can't? I got money. I go, no, you can't. And then, explain the process to them. And people just don't know. And actually, Dwayne and Jordan and I talk about this all the time. Like, it just people aren't educated. And once you speak to them and tell them what it's all about and, introduce them to the sport, they change their opinion completely.
Yeah. Well, I love it when you really explain the full laws to them, and they look at you like a deer in the headlights, and you're like, I fully understand. Half of this stuff doesn't make sense either. Yeah. Right? Like, I don't even think the lawyers can figure it out. It's just so they've repealed, they've adjusted, they've amended so many times. They keep going down this rabbit hole, and this is something they're not going to back out. The only way we're going to solve this is a full rewrite of the Firearms Act on common sense, based on facts, and just completely restart from the beginning. Get rid of that Section 91, and let's start over again.
Exactly.
That's the only way to do it.
That's our goal, and that's what the NFA is always pushing towards. I see. Yeah, AC makes a comment. They might ban water guns. You know what? If it's a replica of a Glock 17, they're definitely going to ban it, whether it's a water gun or not. And that's the sad irony of this whole bill. Stuff like that. Water gun that looks like a Glock, it's going to be banned because it's a replica. There's nothing thought out about Jordan. Jordan shaking his head, but there's nothing. They never thought anything out at all on this bill. There's nothing thought out. This was just loosely thrown together, and I'm sure they just didn't do it. It's been thrown together for quite a while, but definitely not thought out. I don't know. What do you think of that, Dwayne? They just with replicas and airsoft and pellet guns and everything else. Your kid's Red Ryder BB guns, is going to be prohibited now.
Well, and it was, and since I started with this, with the replicas and everything, and the whole rhetoric of see a gun, call 911, like it was about, I can't remember, 5 years that, a gentleman had the police called on him in Grand Prairie for having an umbrella, right? And it's just like, man, it's
don't even get us started on red flag laws, because that'll be another hour.
Red flag, yellow flag.
Yeah.
You know what? We've been going on for about 52 minutes now. I think we still want to take carry on with our last talk there. We were going to have Blair on the show, so
we will.
I think we're at a good spot to leave it for now, and I think we should come back in maybe a week and touch up, and maybe we'll know some more by then with if they're going to ram through the bill, or if we've got the summer to relax and shoot some handguns and trade amongst ourselves.
Yeah. On that note, on behalf of Canada's National Firearms Association, I'd like to thank everybody that came out to Silverdale to participate. I'd like to thank the staff and our people, everybody that helped, everybody that came out and shot, and everybody came out just to have some fun. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It was a great day, and the NFA appreciates your patronage.
All right, guys, until next time, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to this episode of NFA Talk. Like and follow the NFA on social media and sign up to become a member.